Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back again with some more Infinite Lagrange. As you can see behind me, it's time for the CTG's rundown of the systems. So, quick shout out to Xerox and Bob Potato Face, who supplied me with most of these screenshots and what have you. So yeah. Oh, and Aussie. Also Aussie. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. So, I think first up, we'll do M1 and M2, and then we'll go on to A and go like that, because it's probably a bit easier. So, A1. This is the big giant front cannon, or M1, sorry. The big giant front cannon. It's 9,000 DPM with 400 damage per hit. It is an energy-based weapon, something to note. So, very, very nice bit of damage there, especially because it's energy-based. It's got a 6-second duration, a 10-second cooldown. Damage frequency of 3 times. So, in that 6-second duration, it'll ping the damage 3 times with a 6-second lock-on time. So yeah, not an overall bad weapon system. It's not bad at all. If you come back out here, you'll also notice that that is the main weapon system. That's what this little M means, and that means it's the weapon system that can get knocked out. Something to know, I have heard the devs are thinking about nerfing the Constantine by removing the main weapon system being the Gamma Storm ion attack system and moving it over to the A slot, the missile weapon system, due to the fact that, as you can see, we got 9,000 DPM there, but if we look at the A1 slot very quickly, 24,000 damage per minute. So yeah, something to bear in mind in future is if you see this M move over to that, it means that that's the weapon system that will get knocked out for by fighters that target systems. Now for M2, we have the CT-2600 Gamma Storm Energy Torpedo Launching System. In my opinion, this is going to be flat out better. Ish, partially due to the fact that it's got these really nice torps, which are attacking 2 times 1, so you got double the sort of attack. If a ion system misses its first hit, it generally misses the next couple of hits as well. This is out of practice that we've been and some testing we noticed on IOs. If they do miss, it misses quite a lot of its damage, and you do see some big damage decreases there. This having separated a little bit easier. So it's got 2 attacks per round with a 12.7 second cooldown. So very nice and simple. Shoots a couple of energy torps out and goes and blows stuff up. As you can see in this one, this has been upgraded quite a fair bit. So it's hitting 60 damage per hit plus 468. So the overall DPM though of this weapon system is higher than the base Gamma ion system. So in my opinion, you probably do run this if you have got it. Next up, we're looking at A1, which is the missile system, I believe. We can go into blueprint design and double check that. Yeah, A1 Gamma Storm missile system. 24,000 damage per minute with an 850 damage per hit, and it's a 1x8 attack with an 8-second duration, 26-second cooldown, and a 6-second lock-on time. This is the bread and butter of the CTG. Anybody running the CTG and you're looking to put points into it, if you're not looking to make it slightly tankier, you put points into this first, just due to the fact that it's a hell of a lot of damage output. And yeah, this is definitely, if you don't have, you just have the base CTG, this is where you should be putting your tech points to increase its damage output for sure. This does a far more than the main weapon system currently does, and this is why I believe the devs are thinking about changing the main weapon system to this, because this cannot get knocked out, which means the CTG is forever effective, even against carrier-based fleets. So, definitely pretty cool. But we have A2. Now, A2, you lose the missile system, kind of. So it degrades that base missile system to another Dodecaphire missile system that does 12 attacks per round, but only 350 damage per hit. So a little bit over half, more or less. Still keeping 12,600 damage per minute, which is obviously still higher than the main weapon system. Here's the interesting thing, though. On the A2 slot, so you lose that CM8 times 608A, and you gain that weapon system that's about half the DPM. You gain the CM8 times 608 Gamma Storm Pulse Energy Missile System. At base, at 23,610 damage per minute, 700 damage per hit. Energy based, so you're swapping from a projectile, which can, have damage mitigated by armor, to energy, which is a percentage damage mitigated instead, which is generally better. You're literally gaining about 12,000 DPM per minute just by equipping this. So 12,000 DPM per minute is well and truly worth the tech points, and that's just like base stats, because as this is energy based, real world use, this is going to be a more effective DPM by a large margin. And if you get this, you're extremely lucky, and I highly recommend running this on your CTG. 12-second duration, 1 times 8, same as the base weapon system, and a 25-second cooldown. Again, losing a little bit damage per hit, but gaining energy damage type instead just makes it far more worth it, in my opinion. We then can have a look at the B slots. Or sorry, the D slot. So we have D1. We have the short-range anti-aircraft missile system, 54 damage per hit. Apologies there. Anti-aircraft, prioritizing aircraft. I believe this does have some interception value for anti-missile and stuff like that, but it is pretty low. But meh. We then go to D2, which is the targeted protection system. And this is the one that I actually own, so I can show this one here a little bit better. We have reduced crit damage by 60%. Crit damage can be everything from crits hitting the systems as well as crits just hitting the ship in general. So reducing that damage by 60% is pretty decent, especially in the cases of bombers and stuff, Vetus bombers and stuff. They have a very, very large crit multiplier, and that's why they dish out so much damage. Reducing that damage with this is probably going to be better than running anti-aircraft missiles, in my opinion. But even better, you can have healing UAVs, because the ship needs healing UAVs. Of course it does. It's got massive amounts of damage. It's not bad as it actually is pretty terrible as a tank if you compare it to a Spear or an ST-59. But the damage output makes up for that. But we can just add in some healing UAVs. Something to note: these only heal itself. These will not heal other ships, as far as I'm aware. So it is healing only itself. The heal isn't amazing, but the heal will make up for itself over time. The longer your battles draw on, the more fire these CTGs take, the more it's going to heal overall, and it's going to make up for maybe even the 60% critical damage reduction. So definitely, probably your best in slot is that one. So that's your D slot. And then we move over onto the C slot. So in C1, you have the energy module. This is a extra thing. It increases your ion cannon damage. It's unfortunate that doesn't increase the missile damage, but that would probably be a bit broken. Not a bad little system. Could be worth it. I'm not sure if this increases the torps either, by the way. Something to know is because it does say increases ion cannon damage, and you can swap your iron cannon, the M1 slot, for the M2, which is the energy torps. I don't think this applies to that, so do bear that in mind. You then have a lovely little C2 slot, which carries medium fighters. Not a bad little slot. I believe it's 2 medium fighters. So there you go. If you wanted anti-air, that's how you can bring some anti-air in for yourself. You can put a couple of spores in here, a couple of mistrals, anything you fancy like that. It also comes with a anti-aircraft missile system, giving you 78 damage per hit. It has got the interception capability, so it can target other missiles and torps, reducing damage incoming, with 1 attack per round, 1.7 second cooldown, and a 3-second lock-on. Not a bad little system. Depending on how much you can potentially buff the interception capability, could be pretty damn good. And again, that is coming with a couple of hangars for a couple of aircraft, so pretty damn good there indeed. You then have the spotter UAVs. We've talked about these a few times before. They increase the hit rate of the ship. I don't think it's necessary on the Constantine the Great, and it's due to the fact because of its main weapon system being that missile base and it firing a lot of missiles. Missiles seem to have a naturally higher hit rate compared to direct fire weapons. So I'm not entirely convinced having spotter UAVs on the CTG is better, and considering this slot, you can get hangars, and on top of that, you know, some decent interception capabilities and, you know, semi-okay anti-aircraft capability. Yeah, I think you go for C2 there. And then we come to B. So this is in the B slot. You have the missile launcher nest, which is it's anti-aircraft again. It's not particularly great. I've not heard great things about it at all either. So yeah, not too sure on that one at all. So for whatever reason, I've decided to go backwards on the B slots. In B2, it's basically the same as B3. It's an energy variant of it, where you're getting pulse anti-aircraft system and a pulse anti-aircraft missile system. So kind of like the missile launcher array and a missile launch. I guess it's 2 missile launchers in B3. But yeah, anti-aircraft and anti-missiles again. And then in B1, which is the one that I want to talk about, which is the generic battery system, adding a medium projectile and some smaller projectile cannons, 350mm and 120mm, dealing 9,600 damage and 8,500, with a priority on frigate and destroyers. In my opinion, that's probably what I would run. You're already going to get some anti-air from running the hangar and the hangar's backup weapon system. I mean, you could add more anti-missile onto it. That's a difficult one. B slot is probably kind of open to what you feel you might want more of. If you want more anti-frigate or an anti-destroyer, B1. If you're expecting more missiles, B2 or B3, they're kind of similar. I wouldn't really... I don't think it'd be too much difference between the B2 and the B3 slot. Again, I haven't been able to test these personally because I don't own them, but there you go. So, all in all, if it was me running the CTG, I'd be running the M2, that's the energy torpedo system, A2, the pulse energy missile launching array, probably B1 for more anti-ship, anti-frigate, anti-destroyer, and then the medium hangar in C2, because you get the added C2 missiles, which are anti-air and slight anti-missile. And D1, D2, D3. It's going to be the repair in D3, surely. It's got to be the repair in D3. So there you go. M2, A2, B1, C2, D3. That's probably what I'd run there. Gives it a nice bit of survivability with the repairs. You got some anti-missile, you got anti-fighter and anti-bomber with your, bringing your own 2 aircraft in. And absolute ridiculous amounts of damage. I believe I've seen one of these, and I don't know if this is pre-nerf or before the nerf, because they used to have a bit more damage than they did, and then they did get nerfed ever so slightly. But yeah, I've seen these doing over 100,000 DPM in total, which is absolutely crazy considering that at least half of it's energy damage, if not more, which is absolutely horror. Like, you can't mitigate that. The only thing that could mitigate the damage coming from this is an ST-59 with the EM armor, and then, you know, your ST-59's not in a position to take any fire from pretty much anything else with generic cannons. So yeah, this is a pretty nasty battle cruiser. Definitely recommended. It's actually the favorite from the poll I did recently. This was the #1 battle cruiser with, I think, about 40 or 50% of the votes were for the CTG. So there we have it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys next time.